reach out and share something about misery. Misery, yeah, I want to talk about misery for a moment. And the reason why I want to talk about misery is because we've all felt it at some point in our life. We've all had some kind of misery. We've all felt that, life has been difficult. We've had times when we've been down. This situation that we have, this pandemic, has caused so many people to become upset, miserable, disconnected. And so there are a lot of people who face misery in different ways, and we all cope in different ways. And why I want to reach out on this misery thing is because as a coach, as a consultant, somebody who does coaching and training in mindset, emotional intelligence, spirituality, one of the most important realizations I've had in my own life is that sometimes we look for solutions out there to get away from misery. We look for distractions. But actually, sometimes we have to do the internal work. We have to go inside and find why we're miserable. And sometimes it doesn't require a thing or an object or an item or a change of even scenery. Sometimes it's as much as just a change of internal scenery. We've got to change what we have going on in here in order to try and find that sense of relief, that sense of happiness again. And so when we get miserable, I want to share a couple of ideas that we can do. But before I do that, I just want to present to you the idea of becoming more self-aware. When you feel miserable, try to find out by going inside, just do a little inspection, a little introspection, find out, well, why am I miserable and where in my body am I feeling that misery? Is it in my heart? Is it a heaviness in my chest? Is it a kind of horrible feeling in my gut? Is it a throbbing sensation in my head? Where in my body? When you start to localize or try to focus where that misery is in your body, you suddenly start to you shift yourself into self-awareness. When you shift into self-awareness, you can start to become detached from that emotion. So rather than being ruled by misery, you can start to detach yourself from that misery, see yourself overcoming that misery by recognizing that the misery is not you. You are not that emotion. You are not that thought. It is simply something that is transient and just passing by. When you recognize that misery is just an emotion that stays for a while and goes, then you can start to recognize that you can have more power over it. You can actually take charge. And so having said all of that, I want to give 3 little tips for combating misery when misery turns up. Tip number one is get grateful. See, when you're grateful, you can't be miserable at the same time. Gratitude and misery cannot exist in the same space in our head or in our heart. So when we get grateful, we're sending a sign out to our mind, to our heart. We're sending a sign out to the universe, if you want to call it that. We're sending a sign that we want to raising our vibrations. We want to raise our emotional state from one of fear or misery or unhappiness or lack to a state of fulfillment, of contentment, of abundance, of gratitude. So gratitude is a great way to start to combat misery. Get grateful for 3 things that you have in your life. 3, maybe one of them is a person, maybe it's an object, maybe it's a state, maybe it's an experience you used to have. Get grateful for what you have and who you have in your life. So that's tip number 1, get grateful. That will combat misery straight away. Number 2, get outdoors. So being connected in nature, whether it's even if you're in London, like many of us are here who are tuned in, it's okay. Get outdoors. When you get outdoors, find somewhere, find a local park, go walk. You're taking in that air. It may not be the freshest of air, but it's external air. You're outdoors. You're able to be in touch with the nature around you. When you're in touch with nature around you, you start to shift your state from feeling sorry for yourself to what's around you. Become observant. When you're outdoors and get observant. Notice people walking past. Smile at somebody, even if you can, if you're not wearing a mask, smile at somebody. Go out and walk by yourself. Take a family member, go walk together. But when you get outdoors, get in touch with nature, something magical happens and it will shift your state from miserable to possible. And you shift from misery to possibility. Okay, and then the third tip is get connected. That means find somebody, even in these lockdown states, you can find somebody, a friend, call them, reach out to them, have a conversation. Maybe you're all zoomed out. Maybe you talk to your family members all the time. You think, I've already done that. Well, go talk to a friend. Talk to somebody you haven't reached out to for a while. Get connected is the third tip in combating misery. When you get connected on the phone, in person, maybe it's one of your household that you've gotten so used to, and then you say, look, let's change what we do. Let's go out for a walk. Let's cook together. Let's sit and pray together. Let's sing together. Let's do some quizzes together. Let's exercise together. You know, some of my clients, you know, what I get them to do is when they're in this state, especially couples, I get them to just go and do a little bit of exercise together in the house. Create an exercise routine and do couples exercises, the two of them together. What that does, it breaks your state from one of like stepping on each other's toes, feeling complacent with each other, into something that becomes exciting because you're energized. When you raise your energetic state through exercise, your mindset shifts and your emotions shift. And when you do that, you're anchoring a more positive feeling with the other person. And now you can start to actually reconnect again as friends or whatever it is. So tip number 3 is get connected. So having said all of that, quick summary for combating misery. Number 1, get grateful about what you have and who you have. Tip number 2, get outdoors, maybe with a friend or a family member or by yourself. No shame in that. Tip number 3, get connected with somebody in your house, somebody else remotely on the phone. Get in touch, have some good times, and you will shift your state and look at possibilities. You might even become a coach to help somebody else through their difficult time. And just by you helping somebody else, you will shift from your state of misery to a state of capability and possibility and opportunity. So I hope that's been helpful. I want to just leave you with a little sing-song, because this song I heard yesterday with my good lady, and she loves it, and I wanted to share it with all of you guys. So check this. You might remember it if you're from the 80s. Let's see if you do. I haven't rehearsed this, by the way. I'm just playing rough for y'all, right? Looking in your eyes, I see a paradise. This world I've found is too good to be true. Standing here beside you, want so much to give you. This love in my heart that I'm feeling for you. Let them say we're crazy, what do they know? Put your hand in my hand, baby, don't ever look back. Let the world around us just fall apart. Baby, we can make it if we're heart to heart. And we can build this world together, standing strong forever. Nothing's gonna stop us now. And if this world runs out of lovers, we'll still have each other. Nothing's gonna stop us. Nothing's gonna stop us. World without our lover, build this dream together. Nothing's gonna stop us now. And if this world runs out of lovers, we'll still have each other. Nothing's gonna stop us. Nothing's gonna stop us now. Nothing's gonna stop us. Nothing's gonna stop us now. Peace out. Have a good weekend. Get grateful. Namaste.